So, which would you guys think is more important in a story? The story itself, or the heroes and villains that are actually in that story? Well, I'm here to talk to you guys about one of my favorite things, comics. Now you're probably wondering, why are you talking about comics? You usually do talk about comics. You usually wear the comic book shirts. It's kind of my thing. The good, bad, the mad, or the glad. These are some of the ways you can describe some comic book characters. Some are good or bad, but some of them can also be glad or mad in varying levels of psychological trauma. Some heroes and villains are all really messed up in the head. I will fully admit that comic books, not exactly the greatest thing to be involved in, thing to be interested in, but I always find one thing about them. I find them to be exciting. I usually find some thrill in knowing that even through all the troubles that a hero can face, they will always come out on top. Whether they be scathed, unscathed, something changes, they will always come out on top. The good, bad, the mad, or the glad. This quote by Chris Colfer states pretty much that heroes and villains are never born. They're defined by the people around them and created as such, which that could be impactful for many of us also. We grew up with certain people that made us who we are and created us gave us our personalities, our interests, the whole 9 yards of who we are, and that's the defining thing with us. An example in the comics would be Batman. When he was 8 years old, his parents were gunned down in an alleyway, and that trauma forever made him into the Dark Knight, made him want to protect everyone. Even though he has a dark exterior, inside he cares for every single human being and works towards making sure that no little kid ever has to go through what he went through again. The good, bad, the mad, or the glad. James Hull also states that in many stories that involve comics, they could be pretty boring without three very important things. The story, of course, the big heroes, and the villains to match them, to have the yin and yang in the story. Which is a very interesting concept because in life there's no good or bad. In comics it's defined. In life there's always just a gray area. There's no one who's inherently good, inherently bad. Everyone is at the same playing field, and one or two events could define them as they are. So, anytime that you see a hero stop a crime, you know he's in his prime, and you know it's time to get involved with it. But, just to finish, the heroes and villains are in the eye of the beholder. Everyone knows that the personification is perfect, and by preference, people don't always become the villains or heroes they are. They are defined by the people around them.